So, welcome again, everyone. What we are going to do today is have a discussion on meditation and twin hearts. As I was mentioning, the reason why I want to do this is a refresher, a reminder. Uh, we'll talk about why it is important, why it is called twin hearts, and we'll get a little technical as well into various steps and talk about why that step is important and what are the benefits of doing it. And I'll scare you a little uh, to tell you that why you should not skip certain steps and why they're super important to do. Okay. So today we're going to use technology. So I have got a few slides prepared. Before I start, everything that we discuss, almost everything, comes from few of the books that we have been referring to. The Ancient Art and Science of Pranic Healing, which is Pranic Healing Level 1 book. Again, for people who are not recognizing it, it's simply because I have an older edition, so the cover is different. We will be referring to Achieving Oneness with the Higher Soul by Master Choa Kok Sui again, of course. Everything is by Master Choa Kok Sui. And we will continue with my favorites, the Lotus Sutra books. So today the Lotus Sutra that we are using is called Beyond the Mind. I'm not sure if you guys can read it, but this is a change. We were talking about, we are using a different book last time. So the Beyond the Mind, this one is purely on meditations. And we will be referring to this as well. For those of you who haven't come across this, I would highly recommend you get that. These are direct quotations from Master Choa Kok Sui, which covers a lot of lectures that he did in many countries over a period of about 10, 12 years. So quite useful. Okay, so let us get started. And this is where I show off my slides, which the content in this is basically a rearrangement of information that from these three books and a few additions based on certain other lectures by Master Choa Kok Sui. Okay, so you all know Master Choa Kok Sui, but I just want to make sure you understand that the meditation, the teachings, everything that we're discussing, they come from the teacher directly. The reason why we read from the books and we refer to these quite a lot is to ensure that the teachings are discussed in its purest form. There is no adulteration, which is basically no changing of techniques based on my thinking or your thinking. The other thing which I want to mention is this is not a teaching session, this is a discussion. So please feel free to contribute, please feel free to add, ask questions, and everything is open to discussion. Do not wait till the end of it. Just let us know when there's something to talk about. Okay. So first things first, why the name? Why is it called Twin Hearts Meditation? And I will refer to the Soul book, page 103. That's a note actually for me. Should not be on the slide, but it is. Meditation on Twin Heart is based on the principle that some of the major chakras are entry points or gateways to certain levels or horizon or consciousness. In simple terms, certain forms of energies at different levels. To achieve illumination or cosmic consciousness, it is necessary to sufficiently activate the crown chakra. Twin hearts refers to the heart chakra, which is the center of emotional heart, and the crown chakra, which is the center of the divine heart. The crown chakra can only be sufficiently activated when the heart chakra is sufficiently activated first. The heart chakra is a replica of the crown chakra. When you look at the heart chakra, it looks like the inner chakra of the crown chakra, which has 12 golden petals. So, hence twin heart. Why? Because we are focusing on two chakras. Why are we focusing on these two chakras? Because these are some of the key entry points. And again, point that should be noted here is these are not the only two entry points. There are others, but these are two of the most important ones. Heart chakra is, of course, the name is heart. Why is the crown chakra called the second heart of the twin heart? Is because it is the center for higher love or divine love. In very simple terms, as we have learned in when we learn meditation on twin hearts, is that heart center effectively makes us capable of loving the people who are within our lives, close families, friends, and crown chakra enables us to feel compassion, love for people we may not be aware of. So general humanity overall, hence the name. Second, and this is the why. Uh, as for the people who have been attending, right, we try to focus a lot on what is it that we're talking about, why is it important, and it is always good to question this. And the idea is not to be skeptical about the teachings of meditation, but to get us thinking on, why something has been added. Why is it that we are being advised to practice this? So, as the name suggests, meditation on twin hearts for peace and illumination. So, if I tell you it is for peace and illumination, I think that's pretty obvious. You'll probably say, "Duh, it's there in the name." But what exactly we mean by peace? And this is something we need to analyze. If you look at our lives, if you look at our day, we are constantly flooded by thoughts, emotions. Depends on how our day has been, depends on how our week has been. Some of us might even feel depends on how our life has been. So we might be experiencing quite a lot of emotions that upset us. We might be surrounded by thoughts which upset us. So meditation on twin hearts is a very good technique to release these from our system, our aura, and that is what allows us to feel peace. Right? Second is, and it's not just peace for ourselves, as we will do the technique and we'll talk through the blessing part of it. That's a lot of peace for us. But by doing meditation on twin hearts, we are also creating a radiatory field or a magnetic field or an energy field. Different terms can be used, which extends this peace to others as well. As we do that, people in our households will also feel similar effects. So if there's somebody you want who should have been joining this meditation, but they're sitting in the other room, don't worry about them. Just you doing them is also going to be of benefit to them. That's one. Second is a technique for illumination. And we will discuss this in steps, what exactly we mean by that. That's going to be a much, much longer discussion. I'm not going to do that today. For now, let's go with the word illumination or cosmic consciousness. I was actually very wary of using the word cosmic consciousness, but uh, when I read the definition of twin hearts in the first book, level one book, Master says this is a technique for cosmic consciousness. So I'm like, if it can come in the first book, we can talk about it here in the session as well. Third, it's a technique for world service. When we are blessing the earth, when we are blessing every person, every being in the earth without any exceptions, this is a form of world service. And in our discussion on karma, in our discussions on golden rule, in our discussions on loving kindness, we talked about the importance of world service to generate positive karma. If you want to have peace, it's a very, very good idea to bless others with peace. So that's also built into this meditation. The fourth benefit is harmonizing our relationship. And here I've called it out as micro and macro. What I mean by that is relationship is one of the key focus areas for most people in the world. And as Master in one of his lectures says that, when people are close, that's when you have friction. If you're all far apart, there is no reason for conflicts to exist. So meditation on twin hearts help us harmonize our relationship. What do you mean by harmonizing? Removal of anger, anxiety, stress, and cultivation of love, peace, forgiveness. It it gives us the ability to let go of, of trivial things, especially trivial things, and and have a much better relationship. Now that applies to our homes, but that also applies on a macro level that when we are blessing the earth, and this is, I'm not sure how many of you have heard of this experiment. I think it was, as per the book, it was done in Brazil, where certain number of pranic healers got together and regularly meditated in a particular area and blessed that area with peace, with love, with forgiveness, the way we do in twin heart meditation. And as a result of that, the crime activities in that area went down to near zero. There was no rational explanation to that. It's not that everybody became super nice, but for some reason, all the miscreants in that area just disappeared. They went somewhere else, and that area specifically became very, very safe. If you talk to some of the people in Colombia, and this is something I can tell you from personal experience, I met some of them in Adhatik Yoga retreats, and they have some amazing stories to tell about effects of twin heart meditation in their neighborhoods. So quite a great thing to do as well, and we can experiment. The fifth one, better health, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. We talked about some of these elements, and we'll probably dive into detail if time permits, but some of the things are fairly obvious. We are talking about getting rid of certain emotions, certain thoughts from our systems. And as pranic healing tells us, a lot of physical ailments are a result of emotional or psychological issues. So meditation on twin hearts directly and indirectly helps with all aspects of our health. So again, another great thing to keep in mind. Uh, Sixth one is keeps us in balance. So let me just pick something. Hold on for a second. For most people, the other chakras are quite activated. Other chakras, as in other than heart and crown. The basic chakra, sex chakra, and solar plexus chakras are activated practically in all persons. Their instincts for self survival, sex drive, and their tendency to react with their lower emotions are very active. With the pervasiveness of modern education and work that require, also the use of mental faculty, the ajna and throat chakra are also quite developed. The heart and crown, however, are not developed in most people. Modern education unfortunately tends to overemphasize the development of throat and ajna, or the development of concrete mind and the abstract mind. The development of heart is neglected. Because of this, you may encounter a person who is quite intelligent but very abrasive. This person has not matured emotionally or has a heart chakra that is quite underdeveloped. Although he or she may be intelligent and successful, their human relationship may be poor and they may hardly have any friends. By practicing meditation on twin heart, a person becomes harmonized and balanced. This means the major chakras are more or less balanced and developed. So this is a very, very good reason again to do twin hearts and a good benefit of doing twin hearts. And this is something that I think you will observe in all of us. And I can say that I have observed, well, let's say somebody has pointed out to me that they have seen this within me. So I started meditation on twin hearts many years ago, and I had this colleague at work who was also a pranic healer. And well, he was not my colleague actually, I was his manager. So he used to work for me, which, as you can imagine, is a slightly trickier relationship. And then I left the country. This was when I was in India, and I started living here in the UK. 5 years later, I bump into him in one of the retreats, and we spent some time together. Now he's no longer, we are not no longer working together, so we could interact as friends. And he pointed this out to me that you have changed a lot. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, we in office used to be scared of you. It took me a while to accept that because I just couldn't understand why would anybody in this world be scared of me. But apparently I did something which scared people off. And he says, but now it seems that you're a very loving and nice person. I was like, maybe it's just because we are meditating together and we are not discussing work. Who knows? But then I had two other people come and tell me something similar, which was a good wake up point for me. I spent the first couple of days thinking about how I used to be abrasive and focused all on the negative, on the kind of person I would not like to be. But then it occurred to me that, okay, meditation practice over a period of time does have that effect. So without consciously trying to change my behavior, people were able to observe some change within me, which was very, very nice to see. So I can definitely say that this effect is something that you will all see in your lives. It takes time. The thing about all of this is, all of these purposes and effects is, nobody can promise you a timeline. We have no idea how it works for different people at different times. But what's guaranteed is with continuous practice and regular practice. Now, regular can mean a lot of things. Meditation on Twin Heart is something that we can do every day. And some of us do. Some of us do some other meditations, but nothing stops us from doing this every day. This is one of the safest meditations as well. So with that, let's move on. Any other effects or consequences that people have seen or observed in their lives or others, please feel free. Again, I'm not going to call out people. I don't want to stress people out in the meditation session, so that's not going to happen. Okay. Warnings. Most of you are aware of these warnings, but it's always good to keep this in mind. It's not for children. There are certain versions of meditation on twin hearts which are for children, but the ones that you typically see in Master's Voice, it is not for people of less than 16-year-old. If you have heart ailments, if for pregnant women and especially with history of miscarriages, you need to avoid this. Keep this in mind so that whenever you are, the reason I brought this up was not for you guys because I'm pretty sure you're very aware of that. But whenever we are inviting people to meditation and to enhance, it is our responsibility to make sure it is safe for them. So if you're aware of any of these things, please keep this in mind and make sure that people are aware of it. This people treat this mostly as disclaimers at the bottom of things and don't pay attention. But these are some very, very important things. Purification, which we have been talking about and which we will be talking about for at least 6 months of this year, is super, super important. And that's why we are spending so much time on character building. And we will continue that as we go forward. Next, I am conscious of time. Okay, let's move to the technique. Now, again, all of us here have done meditation on twin hearts, so we are well aware of the technique. What I want to cover is why do we do specific steps? Why do we actually follow a certain sequence? What is the importance of that? And hopefully this will, well, let's inspire us to not skip it and be mindful of it. And I'll point out the ones which I think, based on my experience and some of my friends, what people tend to miss. So number one is physical exercises. I'm very sure that you know of people who skip physical exercises before doing meditation on twin hearts. They just don't think it is important. But it is super, super important. And the reason why it is important is if we do not get rid of some of the congested or dirty energy from our system, the moment we start meditation, divine energy is going to flow. And as we learned, meditation on twin hearts is based on two entry points of energies, crown and heart. So when the divine energy flows this way and you have blockages, the energy will not be able to go through all the centers. When that happens, congestion can happen. Congestion can result in various conditions depending on how individual's body is. If somebody has a heart problem, something might get triggered. If somebody has knee in certain part of the body, that may get triggered. So it can have some minor to major consequences. Hence, it is super important to do that. A lot of times when and this is something that happened to me. I did meditation. I didn't do exercises because I didn't have time, and nothing happened to me. So according to me, safe for me. Why bother? But not right. You have to tell yourself to do that. And if you have less time and you cannot do all the exercises that we just did, we still have to do certain exercises. Make sure you're moving your body. Make sure you're exercising your eyes. Okay. And this is a suggestion, not an invitation to be lazy and skip all the exercises and just jump around for 2 minutes. Do all of them. But if you're really hard pressed, don't skip. Do something. Eyes always. Second step is invocation. Now, why do we do an invocation? Why do we invoke for prayer? Okay, two main reasons for that. And how do we invoke, right? We use Master Choa CD, so it is very clear. The meditation starts with to the Supreme God, to all spiritual teachers. So that's a very safe way of invoking. If you are not using the CD, and we'll talk a little bit about that because that's also a possibility, then you can design your own invocation. Invocation is effectively, the word itself says, we are invoking for something to come. And when we are doing that, it's almost like plugging into, as Master Ko explains this beautifully in some of his classes, that imagine that you have a very, very sophisticated television, and it is absolutely useless if you do not plug it in and switch on. So invoking is like plugging it in and turning it on so that more energy can flow through you. That's one. The second bit is we all need help, guidance, and protection. So we do not, while this is difficult to understand and this is difficult to explain, especially for me, but there are certain people who are very, very, let's say, conscious about the presence of higher beings, various spiritual helpers. But some of us, most of us, don't really sense them. We somehow are aware of it, or we feel, okay, there is something, but it's very, very difficult to explain. Hence, this part is a little trickier. But I think I would go with Master Cho on this because most of his teachings, when we apply, they work. So based on his very, very fantastic track record, I'll take his word for this right now and suspend my judgment on existence of spiritual helpers till I actually figure it out. But what they help us do is do the meditation safely. Safety is super, super important in any meditation technique. And as some of us have done Adhatik Yoga, some of us are planning to do it in October, we will be exposed to a lot more meditations which have significant amount of power which flows through in. And Master Choa was always particular. that he did not want students to have the most powerful technique, but he wanted to ensure that it is the safest technique so that we continue and we do it for a long period of time. And this is where invocation is super, super important. So never skip it. If you are joining a group meditation, and this is the only time where people actually skip it, and you're late, you just jump and sit down, and by that time maybe invocation has already taken place, and you are into raising your hands, activating your heart, wherever you are. Take 10 seconds to yourself, silently do the invocation, and then come right back in. Do not do a meditation without invoking. Even if you're even if I ignore the first part of less power coming through us, the safety protocol is also not being taken care of. You need safety. We all need to do the meditation practice safely. So please do not ever ignore the invocation part of it. Third, which is again missed by a lot of people purely out of habit, or people just ignore it because they are so keen to raise their hands and bless and get started with the whole thing, that you forget to connect the tongue to the palate. And as all of us here have done level 1 course, we know why connecting the tongue to the palate is super, super important, because it completes our energy circuit. You're invoking for a tremendous amount of energy. You're going to use blessings, heart, crown, everything. So a lot of energy needs to circulate. And that is more important. We are not just bringing it down, we are circulating the energy. Hence, tongue to the palate is super important. The instruction says connect your tongue to the palate, but a lot of times while we do it, over the meditation itself, we might drop it, we might forget about it. The moment we do that, the amount of energy in our system, especially the circulation of it, will go down. It won't go down to zero, but it will reduce substantially. Hence, a reminder, always keep your tongue connected. Fourth bit is activation of the heart. This is something, let me just read this because there's a part here which people, including me, miss a lot. So I'm continuing with achieving oneness with the higher soul. The exact same technique is mentioned in level 1 book as well, but I'm just sticking to one just purely for convenience. Okay. Activate the heart by blessing the earth and the entire earth with loving kindness. By the way, I forgot one thing. Sorry. Step 3, before we connect our tongue to the palate, after invocation, for people who have done achieving oneness with the higher soul, have some of you taken that class? Okay, so we learn the soul affirmation on that. By the way, we don't have to take the class to learn soul affirmation. You can just get this book and read soul affirmation in it. But it is an excellent idea before every meditation. After invocation, do the soul affirmation as well. And the reason you connect the tongue to the palate after that is obvious, because you'll be speaking the soul affirmation verbally. So it just makes sense. But doing the soul affirmation, and I won't go into the details of that, different course, different class, but it would again magnify the effects of the meditation itself. Now coming to the heart. Press your front heart, press your front heart chakra with your fingers for a few seconds. Sorry, can you guys see me? I was going to say, can you see my heart? But that just sounded a bit weird. Okay, center of the chest. This is where the heart chakra is. We all know that. So what is mentioned in the book, now this is not in the audio CD. And that is why a lot of us, when we are doing this meditation, we actually don't do this step. But here it says very clearly, press your front heart chakra with the fingers for a few seconds. So next time when we do this meditation, at least we can do this as an experiment, right? Everybody has done the level 1 class. So just scan your heart chakra before you do anything. Just scan how it is right now, your own heart chakras. I just want you to do this as an experiment, okay? Now, once you've done that, we'll follow the steps. Press your front heart with your fingers for a few seconds. Now, you should touch your front heart chakra with your left hand. That's not mentioned in the book. I'm telling you this based on something else that we learned in a different class. Just a few seconds. Our intention is to activate the heart chakra. Okay, go back and scan your heart. Is it activated? Thumbs up, thumbs down, no difference. Give me a sign. Okay, activated, activated. Okay, good. So keep this in mind. It's not in the CD, but you can use that. Why is this important? This is, to me, I've come across a lot of people believe that meditations is all about faith. And I respectfully disagree. I personally don't see that because it is not about faith. Ultimately, we are being taught a technique. So for people who are going to have a lot of trouble on imagining a happy event and saying the St. Francis of Assisi prayer, it's a very good idea to just do this. You can still activate your heart. The intention is to activate the heart. At the end of the technique, we'll talk about how to do meditation on twin hearts quickly in 5 minutes or something. And this is the fastest way. I want to activate my heart. I want to activate my crown, and I want to go straight into meditation after that. Sometimes I don't have time. Sometimes I'm stressed. So these techniques can come useful. When you have a lot of time, do it this way. Now, the another way and adding on to this of how to activate your heart, and this is something we hear in the CD, we call a happy event. Why is that important? Why they call a happy event? Because we talked about heart center is the center of emotional love. So if we think of something that makes us happy, and again, emotional love. So don't not the best idea to think of food, uh, some fancy car, sex, or anything else that also makes us happy, but in a very different way. Different chakras get activated. As Bev was mentioning, different class, different chakras. Not today. So it's a good idea to think of somebody who you love. And if the one practical tip on this is create a repository of these things, of events. I think for people with kids, that's easiest. They just think of their kids and their heart chakra blooms. That's great. For some of us like me, no kids, can't go there. So it's a very, very good idea to create a repository of 3 to 5 events which just make you happy or which made you happy in the past. And the reason why it is important is that when we are severely depressed or angry or upset about something, it is very difficult to find a happy event to think of. And that's a big challenge. That's a practical challenge, and it is important. And it's very useful if we acknowledge it. That there are times in our lives when we don't feel good. Doing meditation on twin hearts on those times is brilliant. It's very difficult to get yourself to sit down and do meditation on twin hearts when you're feeling depressed, but it's like almost a checklist that you guys create. I mean, I would like to have that. It's just like, some people have a music playlist of happy songs. So when they're depressed, without thinking, analyzing, just play those songs and your condition improves. So just like that, if you have a playlist of happy events in your life that you can simply by default go to activate your heart, it's a very good thing to do. Again, on days when this becomes difficult or impossible, pressing helps. It's a physical act. Don't have to think too much. Just do that. Okay. So, and then we bless the earth using the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. Um, Another thing is blessing the earth. Just a reminder for people. We have to imagine earth as a small ball in front of us. The ball could be a table tennis ball. No, we don't call it table tennis here. Ping pong ball, that small, or like a tennis ball, no bigger than that. And that's what we imagine, right? That's why our hands, it's not a soccer ball, so it's not a very, very big ball. The reason why the size is important is because then you can imagine Earth being flooded by energy. If the ball is really, really big, then you might be thinking, okay, I'm getting this part of the ball, but I'm not getting that part of the ball. The mind might kick in. Apologies to somebody who never thought that way and now will think that way. I'm sorry about that, but I want to point it out because I have meditated with a few people who had their hands like this when they were doing meditation on twin heart. And my question was, why is it like this? And they're like, because we are imagining the earth that big in front of us. There's, it's more about being efficient with meditation. So don't do that. Have a smaller ball in front of you. That's a very, very good thing to do. And again, a revision on technique. Why are we activating heart and not crown? It's a good question to ask. And the answer we read about that is to activate the crown chakra, we first need to activate the heart chakra. It's like a switch. You turn this on and then this will go on. Okay. The fourth way of activating, which again, these are not one or the other, we can do all of them, right? Is asking for help. Invocation works brilliantly. If you are not feeling it with all of this, you can simply say, Lord God, thank you for activating my heart center. Simple prayer, and depending on how it works for you, uh, to the Supreme God, to my teacher, Master Choa Kok Sui, to all the spiritual teachers, thank you for activating my heart center. Thank you for filling it with love and peace. If you scan your heart center after this, you will realize it's tremendously powerful. Huge. Again, experiment. In the interest of time, I will move on, but do experiment with this as well, right? I had a recording of Master Choa where he simply says uh, that one of the best ways of doing it is ask for help. If you're stuck, physical technique. If you're further stuck, ask for help. Smart idea, do both. Okay. Activation of crown. Why are we activating crown? Again, we talked about the meditation in the beginning. Crown chakra is one of the key entry points of spiritual energy. These are chakras being used here, and hence that's why we want to really activate it so that tremendous amount of spiritual energy can come in. Point to remember is that substantial activation of crown is needed for illumination. The point I want to make here is it is needed for illumination. Activation of crown chakra is not illumination. Okay, and that is very, very important, right? We are trying to get to a destination. What we are doing right now are steps to get there. But these are steps. Never forget that. So don't get, okay, my crown is activated, I'm done. The next step is alignment of heart and crown. Why do we need to align heart and crown, right? We talked about how heart chakra is a lower manifestation of the crown chakra. What does it mean? Crown chakra, inner petals, and heart chakra, they're identical. So it's almost the same. Now, once these have been activated to ensure and then amplify the flow of energy, you need to align them. So what do? We focus on both and then we bless the earth. Okay. This, in the meditation, it goes sequentially, step by step, and we don't appreciate it, but it is very, very important. And it's actually a very advanced technique. For some of you who will do Adhatik Yoga going forward, you will learn more about this. And it'll be surprising and mind-blowing at that time. Can't talk today, but remember that it is again extremely important. So do not just get stuck into the prayer, and because it happens, we just listening to the prayer and going on. It will work, but if you're well aware of the fact that okay, step one, I activated my heart. Step two, I activated my crown. Step three, I aligned the two and magnified the energy. Then effect is a lot more if we do it consciously. A few reminders which I have noted here. I mean, we talked about blessing and generating good karma, so that's fine. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. If you remember the prayer that Master uses, and he says, activate your heart chakra. Your heart is a being, and your crown chakra is also a being of light. What does that mean? If we are talking about beings, they basically have a life of their own, a consciousness of their own. So we are not talking about, these are not inanimate objects. They have a life and consciousness of their own. What does that mean? You can talk to them. When you're struggling, you can ask them for help. So when you're activating your heart, you can think of it as a being in your heart and think about your heart chakra becoming super happy, super activated. That also helps. Some of us are able to even have conversations with our chakras. I'm not one of them. I'll be very honest with you. Sometimes it is possible, sometimes it's tricky. You don't have to. But when you're activating your heart, if you're aware of the fact that it is a being and you want that being to respond to you, you can ask the being to respond to you as well. So that's another thing. I should have put it in the points, but keep that in mind as well. That you're while we talk about this, hey, open the switch to turn that on. At the end of the day, these are beings in themselves. A safety protocol is at this point when we are blessing, while we are activating step 4, 5, and 6, do not bless individuals. The blessings are too potent, and that's also very, very clearly written in the book. Do not bless individual, bless the entirety of the earth. At the end of it, when we are releasing the energies, that is a good time to bless individuals, not at this point. Okay. Next bit, illumination technique. Okay. Um, oh well, I need to hurry up, so we will. Uh, Now, as I said, activation of crown is to lead towards illumination, is not illumination. So the technique for illumination in meditation on twin hearts is to imagine a light on top of your head. So we need to imagine a point of light. Point of light, and again, this is for people who struggle with how to do that. There are a lot of people, you say imagine a point of light, they close their eyes, they imagine a light and they're already blissed out. For people who are more analytical in nature, people like me, they start wondering, what light am I talking about? Is it a bulb? Is it a candle light? Is it a star? What color is it? How strong is it? A lot of things come into mind. So it is a good idea to think about it beforehand. You can go with a star. You can go with a candle flame. Don't go with a bulb. Not the most powerful thing to do, but it's normally brilliant white or golden in color. So if you have to imagine, these are the colors as as per the prescription in the book, right? Keep that in mind. The next step after we have imagined the light is to feel peace, stillness, and bliss. When we're talking about peace, calm emotions, stillness, less thoughts, not zero thoughts, less thoughts. And bliss is the general happiness that when you achieve this state, which is the most difficult to describe. Next is chanting of Om. Why do we chant Om? It is important again to understand chanting of Om because that will help you do it on your own as well. Right? We chant Om because we want to switch to a higher frequency when we are meditating. Higher frequency of what? Of the energy state of that we are experiencing at that point. So keep that in mind that the chanting of Om is important, and it is important because you basically want to now just level up your frequency at that point. The final step here is meditating on the gap. So by meditating on the gap, we simply mean be aware of the gap. The gap is not a pause in the CD. The gap is not a pause between ohms. The gap is a very active part of the meditation. So keep yourself active in that. And then once you have done all of that, we are asked to let go. That's when we let go, which effectively means stop focusing on these things. And if an experience is opening in front of you, let it happen. Now, things to probably watch out for is most people, I'm not saying all people, most people will find it challenging to eliminate thoughts completely. The moment we get into a silent state, our brain starts functioning. There are thoughts, we just become aware of them. We might be thinking of, okay, this meditation is probably going to go over time today and maybe it will end at about 8:30. So do I need to postpone my dinner? Do I need to tell anybody? What am I having for dinner? Okay, what do I need to do tomorrow morning? Our thoughts may go into that, which is okay. It happens. It will happen. If you fight it, it will happen more strongly. So our focus is simply get your attention back to the light, get your attention back to the silence. If it drifts again, get it back. Keep doing this. There is, over the period of time, the size of the gap or stillness increases. Stillness is a very important part of the meditation. As per the book, and that's why I've noted it here, the stillness should be 10 minutes. In the CD, it's less. But when we're doing it on our own, it can be as much as 10 minutes. So keep these things in mind. The next step is to release the excess energy, which we are all aware of it. And why do that? Again, to avoid congestion. Quite a lot of energy has come into your system. So don't be greedy, don't be selfish, share it with people and avoid any kind of congestion. The effect of congestion could be that our bodies can deteriorate over time, which means faster aging. Nobody wants that. Diseases, organs may get affected. Hence, release excess energy, take your time with that. That's exactly the reason why we should do the last bit, which is the exercises. I'll come to that. But once we have done the releasing of the energy, Thanksgiving, super important again. And I know when we are doing it with the CD, nobody's skipping these steps. But I would just request all of us to be conscious about it. We asked for help, guidance, and protection when we started. It is very, very important. I mean, let's be nice and say thanks for that. The other bit is some of us will have some tremendous experiences as we meditate. And they may not be about flying in the inner world. It could be healings for you. It could be calming down. It could be improvement of your life. Maybe we will get clarity about certain topics. Maybe we will find time. We'll find that we become a lot more efficient, right? So that is not you as much as we would like to think that we made that happen. It is with the support that we got through the meditation. And again, so it is good to develop that humility on where and thank the source. So be conscious of that when you're doing the Thanksgiving. Last bit, this is something I know most people ignore. When the CD is done, hit stop, get on with your day. People forget to do the exercises. Please do the exercises. Okay. It stops congestion, which means more clean energy can go into your system as well. It allows the assimilation of fresh energies, which means meditation, the moment 22 minutes are over, does not stop there. The effect are going to go on for a long time. So it is very important to release excess energy and make sure that we are able to absorb that. Three, which I talked about, it deteriorates the body if you do not get rid of excess energy, which means spiritually we are growing, but our physical body is not catching up. So it is very, very important to do these exercises. And if further incentives are required, then it helps you enhance your health and beauty. So do this bit and see what the effect is. Ask somebody who hasn't seen you for 3, 6 months after meditation, and you can experiment with that. When I say physical exercises, I mean the exercises that we typically do. And I personally like to be practical about this. So if the instruction is to do the physical exercises as taught, as we just did, all of them. If short in time, move your body, do jumping jacks, do twisting, whatever works for you. Make sure we exercise our eyes. Tap the parts of the body which have some kind of pain or illness. If nothing, at least tap your liver and your kidneys. These are big organs, these are important organs, they store a lot of things. When we tap something, like I have a problem with my shoulder right now. So after the meditation, I will definitely tap this. Any dirty energy which is not released will come out. The moment it comes out, a vacuum is created. Fresh energy, which I have generated or have kind of asked for in my system through meditation, will get sucked into this and it will have a healing effect. So these are the things which some of us ignore, some of us forget, purely because maybe we are doing this meditation for a very long period of time and we are no longer conscious of it, or simply because we are lazy, or we never actually dove deeper into this and all do is play the CD. It's all fantastic. This is about, kind of leveling up our practice to make sure that we get the most out of it. Continuing the same theme, I just want to point out a few things which we have been taught over a period of time on how to make our practice more efficient. The one thing which people can do is, I'm not sure how many of you have ever tried this, but dipping your feet till your ankles into salt water. So you can get a bucket, a tub, or whatever works. Fill it with warm water, add some salt to it, add a few drops of lavender oil, and try meditating with that. That has a tremendous amount of flushing effect. So especially if you are suffering emotionally, then do this. It will magnify the cleansing effect of the meditation, and it's a very fast way of healing. Second is, which we will do today, is ask for specific cleansing during invocation. So when we are meditating, if you're suffering from a certain illness, physically, emotionally, you can ask for that healing before you meditate. If there is nothing happening at that point in life, you can simply ask for the cleansing of auras and chakras. And we will do this today before we start meditating. So you can use that. There are many versions of this meditation. If you want to do a healing, you can use the energy is quite potent and has a lot of healing properties, which means once we stop the meditation, you can continue further and do self-healing. I'm not sure if you guys have access to other versions of Twin Hearts. There are 5 or 6 versions of Twin Hearts. I think I made a note of these. Yeah, there are 5 of them. These are available in CDs. So what we typically do is the first one, Meditation on Twin Hearts for Peace and Illumination, which is the shorter one, the 22 minutes one. But you have a meditation with self-pranic healing, which is for healing of your physical body. So here, what the difference is, before you release the energy to the earth, you use it for healing. So Master will guide us to take the energy from different organs. And that's a brilliant meditation. It's about 32 minutes. So additional 10 minutes, but absolutely worth it. Chakra healing is a meditation which focuses on psychological healing. So a very focused property of the energy is used in a certain manner. So for those of you who have done psychotherapy, you would understand the colors as well. But that's again another 10 minutes, but a beautiful way of getting self-healing done in just 10 minutes by using this. Meditation on loving kindness uses the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum instead of the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. There's a beautiful explanation on St. Francis of Assisi prayer as well. We'll probably cover it next time. And then the last one is meditation on to enhance Islamic version. This, I'm not sure how many of you have the CDs for this, but the ones who enjoy doing this meditation, I would recommend you try and get hold of these because it gives you a good variety and stops you from being stuck and letting the meditation done passively. The Islamic version was one of the last CDs recorded by Master Choa Kok Sui. So for some of us, I don't know if anybody's in this room, some people do not like the music in Tune Heart meditation. Ding, 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 ding. Some people do not like it. And I've met a few of those. It's very difficult for people to admit. They think it's disrespectful to do that, but it's not. So this meditation version has no music. And the prayer is completely different. So we can do it one of the weeks if people are curious about it. But it's a meditation in Twin Heart is the same. The procedure is the same, but sometimes the prayer itself changes within the meditation. So experiment with that as well. Okay, that's a lot of talking. So let me take a pause. Questions, comments by anybody? Any experiences with meditations or any other variety that you guys have come across? No? Okay. So where was I? So we will do now the meditation, and as I mentioned, we will use the prayer to invoke for certain healings. So the trick is the meditation brings a tremendous amount of energy. What we are going to do is invoke for blessings, for cleansing of certain aspects of our life. So you can think of what you need, but if you can think of nothing, all simply you have to do is just get yourself in an invocation position, or you can put your hands in front of your heart if this works, or you can just ask for prayers the way we typically do in meditation. Just center yourself, give yourself 30 seconds. After this, we'll go straight into the meditation. To the Supreme God, to my spiritual teachers, to all the spiritual teachers, Holy Gurus, Masters, Saints, Archangels, Holy Angels, and spiritual helpers, we humbly invoke for divine guidance, help, and protection. We humbly invoke that through this meditation on Twin Hearts, our auras and chakras be cleansed. Thank you for the healing energies. Thank you. This is it. A quick 30-second prayer before we start the meditation. Can you hear the sound?
This is Master